Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Check with Tech, your guide to all things tech. I'm your host Yaseen Azzam, and let's get started, shall we? First things first, ASUS just revealed their new gaming notebook, the ROG Zephyrus G14, and the only thing I can say about it is wow. Now, we did get a glimpse of it at CES, but we didn't have time to talk about it because there was so much other stuff. But here we have another chance to talk about it, so let's talk about it. Now, if you watched the videos explaining about this laptop, you know that it is impressively thin and impressively powerful. Depending on the model that you buy, you either get the AMD Ryzen 9 or the AMD Ryzen 7 4000HS series, which is designed exclusively for the Zephyrus series laptops. Now, these processors are pretty powerful. They have 8 CPU cores, 16 threads, 8 GPU cores, a base clock of 3 GHz, a max boost clock of up to 4.3 GHz, total L2 cache of 4 MB, and 8 MB of L3 cache. It uses PCIe 3.0 and can reach temperatures of up to 105 degrees, while its default TDP is only 35 watts. That's pretty impressive, especially considering that that's a gaming laptop that's less than 20 millimeters thick. What else do you have? Well, you have the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060 or the RTX 1660 depending on the model. It also offers up to 1 terabyte of NVMe SSD and up to 32 gigabytes of dual-channel DDR4 3200 RAM. For battery life, it's expected to have 10.7 hours of video playback and up to 9.5 hours of web browsing. You do have 2 charging adapters. One is a USB-C with 65 watts, and the other is the regular port, which offers 180 watts. Do keep in mind, if you want to use the discrete GPU while charging, you have to use the 180 watt port. You also have a 14-inch display with 85% screen to body ratio. Now I have 2 options for the display. Either a full HD display with 120 Hz refresh rate or a WQHD display with 60 Hz. There is also a cheaper FHD 60 Hz option if you want. Now, all of these screens except the FHD 60 Hz screen supports adaptive sync, which basically lets the refresh rate of the display synchronize with the GPU frame rate to basically remove any stuttering or tearing whenever you're playing games. It also offers a pretty solid port options. You have the power adapter, an HDMI 2 port, a 3.5mm audio jack, a Kensington lock, 2 USB Type A's, and 2 USB Type C's. One of them supports a DisplayPort and power delivery. And there is also another option to activate Anime Matrix. Basically what that is that half of the backside of the laptop is filled with these tiny dots that you can light up to a pattern of your choice, and then you can make some cute animations on it. It's a gimmick, basically. Now, I can definitely say that this gaming notebook doesn't look like most gaming laptops, because it actually looks like a regular laptop that doesn't really focus on performance, which actually it does. But all I'm saying is, if you didn't know that this laptop existed, or you didn't know anything about it, you'd just say that this is a regular laptop. And now, to go from AMD and their new 4000HS series, let's go to Intel and see what they are up to. Now, at the time of this recording, just yesterday, Intel announced their new lineup for mobile processors. The Intel Core i9 10980HK, the i7 10875H, the i7 10850H, the i7 10750H, the i5 10400H, and the i5 10300H. So here we go one by one, starting with the i9. Now the i9 10980HK has a base clock speed of up to 2.4 GHz and a maximum single core turbo frequency of 5.3 GHz. It has 8 cores and 16 threads, a TDP of 45 watts, 60 megabytes of cache, and it supports a 2-channel DDR4 2933 memory. Now for the Intel Core i7-10875H, you have a base clock speed of 2.3 GHz, a maximum single core turbo frequency of 5.1 GHz, 8 cores, 16 threads, TDP of also 45 watts, 16 megabytes of cache, and also supports 2-channel DDR4 2933 memory. For the i7-10850H, you have a base clock speed of 2.7 GHz, a single core turbo frequency of 5.1 GHz, 6 cores and 12 threads, also 45 watts of TDP, 12 megabytes of cache, and also supports 2-channel DDR4 2933. Now that I think about it, all of them support 2-channel DDR4 2933 memory. Halfway there, we have the i7-10750H with a base clock speed of 2.6 GHz, a maximum single core turbo frequency of 5 GHz, 6 cores and 12 threads, a 45 watt for TDP, and 12 megabytes of cache. The i5-10400H has a base clock speed of 2.6 GHz, a maximum single core turbo frequency of 4.6 GHz, 4 cores and 8 threads, a TDP of also 45 watts, 8 megabytes of cache, and supports the same memory. The last one, the i5-10300H, has a base clock speed of 2.5 GHz, a maximum single core turbo frequency of 4.5 GHz, 4 cores and 8 threads, a 45 watt TDP, and has 8 megabytes of cache. That was a mouthful. Till now, we don't really have any devices to test these processors on. I mean, they're still coming pretty soon, so we can't really compare these processors with the Ryzen 4000H series. Starting April 21, Microsoft's Office 365 will officially be renamed to Microsoft 365. Along with the rename, they're going to offer a new subscription option, which Microsoft calls a subscription service for your life. It's going to be $7 a month for individual subscription and a 6-user family plan for $10 a month. Their service supports Windows, macOS, iOS, and Android. Now it will have the same applications that Office 365 offers, but with new features and new services. One of them is Microsoft Teams for personal use. Yeah. And in this subscription, you have a new tool that's just announced. It's called Editor, and it's for Microsoft Word. Basically, Editor is like Grammarly. It's an AI tool that helps you with suggestions and solutions to any grammar problems in your text. It will also bundle perks from partners like Headspace and Adobe. And it will include a new app called Family Safety. It's basically Apple with their screen time, but one of their key features is it can notify you whenever any of your family members leaves the house or anywhere. Now, I know a lot of people who use Office 365 and they're pretty satisfied with what they have, but till now it's going to take Microsoft a long time to convince users to use Microsoft 365. But until now, I still don't really see the subscription service for your life. I don't see what they really mean by that, but I mean, it's not really, so really don't know yet. Now to move to some smaller topics, Samsung will officially close down LCD production in South Korea and China by the end of the year, so they can have more resources for quantum dot displays. Apple bought the very popular Dark Sky app, which is a weather app, and they're going to basically redesign it and shut down the Android version. So if you have it on Android, you most probably will find it deleted someday. The OnePlus 8 series got the highest ever DisplayMate rating before it was even released, which is A+. Fitbit announced the Fitbit Charge 3, which now supports GPS, but caveat, it won't work with third-party apps. And last but not least, Google has stopped selling the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 3 XL. And that, ladies and gentlemen, closes the book of this summary of this week of everything that happened. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Please listen to the other episodes and don't be afraid to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. As always, this is Yaseen Azzam signing out. See you next weekend.